all have experienced déjà vu. Well, I have. Perhaps only a few times in my life, but for some, they may have experienced it on a regular basis. Well, why is that, and what is it exactly? It's a strange phenomenon that I believe, if not all, most of us have experienced it at one time in our life. It's a strange sensation at the moment it happens. Well, what is it all about, really? Well, I decided to take a trip into the unknown when feeling into the phenomenon of déjà vu. So come explore the metaphysical concept of déjà vu with me and why we experience it at one time in our life, or on a regular basis for some. My name is Aya, and if you're new to this channel, I'm working on the concept of the metaphysical. And if you're unfamiliar with what the metaphysical is, you can have a peek at our website, which is metaphysicalawakening.com, where I go into the basic aspect of what that is. We normally live our day-to-day life relying on our 5 physical senses, such as touch, smell, sight, taste, and hearing. But what of others that go beyond that, such as mother's intuition or gut intuition, seeing images playing out as we're daydreaming, or hearing sounds that you swear you heard but not being able to recognize where it came from, or having this strong suspicion that someone is looking over your shoulder but there's no one there standing over you. This and other experiences we have felt at one time in our life, and we don't seem to have an explanation for these events. So why is that? Are they just coincidences or mishaps in our sound judgment? Well, there are explanations for them. We just have to go beyond the 5 physical senses. So what is it about déjà vu that make us wonder about the mystery behind it? It is an odd sensation when we are experiencing it. It's as if you were there in that place and time, perhaps with those same people having that same conversation before. How weird is that? Well, according to an online dictionary, Merriam-Webster, déjà vu is the illusion of remembering scenes and events when experienced for the first time. And according to Cambridge.org, it's the strange feeling that in some way you have already experienced what is happening now. Well, I was listening to a podcast I enjoy, and one of their listeners asked if there is an evolutionary connection to the déjà vu experience. And one of the biologists stated a hypothesis from another biologist stating that the explanation of déjà vu could be caused by the slight delay in retrieving information in one part of the brain, while the other brain hemisphere reads it properly on cue. So therefore, this creates a sense of confusion as to whether this happened before or not. Then he stated his own hypothesis, saying that it happens when we walk into a place that looks very familiar, and it gives us a sensation or a sense of feeling that we have been there before when we really hadn't. It's just that what you see from a particular angle is very familiar to where you had been before. So the brain triggers this thought process that you've been there before based on what you see from that certain angle. At least that's what I understood. So, of course, either hypothesis could be possible. However, I kind of have to disagree with it due to my own experiences with it. And when I looked through the comments below, below their video, I surprisingly found that many others couldn't agree with them either, because neither one matched up with their own experiences. So here's a couple of comments that I saw. And I like this one. It says, on aesthetic grounds, I prefer the glitch in the matrix hypothesis. And then there's another who stated, except that déjà vu, as I have experienced them, and others have described them to me, are often very specific to not only to the place, but to the people present in the words spoken. I'm not an advocate for a mystical explanation, though I'm not advocating for one either. I simply think the experience is deeper than what you described. So I continue scrolling through the comments and noticed that a lot of their listeners believe that it's more than just a brain malfunction. Now, of course, these hypotheses are based on their scientific knowledge of how the brain works, and so they theorize the possibilities of what could be going on in the brain to justify these kinds of experiences. Going outside of that arena, of the arena of science, can be harmful to their reputation in whichever field of science they're in. So, there's a possibility of losing their credibility, right? We don't seem to have the technology currently to study something that may fall a little outside of the realm of current day science. And I'm saying a little outside that realm because I believe there will be a point in human evolution where we'll be able to bridge that gap and make it more tangible with some new technological device, or with simply a thought process like a spark that will spread throughout humankind with the knowledge that there's something more than just what we're physically aware of. Our way of thinking may simply change. I do remember that the other biologist stated that she wishes that the field of psychology would be brave enough to put more effort in studying this more, than, rather than ignoring it in a way which I completely agree with. Well, I did ask some people if they remember any deja vu experiences, and if so, if they could share them with me for this video. And I also asked how often they experienced it, and what sort of sensations they feel as they are experiencing it. Now, what I find from just about all of them is that they can't remember a singular event in which it happened, but they know that they've experienced it multiple times. Perhaps some not as often as others, but they know for a fact that they have experienced it. It's unlike anything they have experienced before. A few recognize there's importance to them, and I will give an example of that. Others just experience them and forget about them a few seconds later. So let's discuss a couple of examples. So a good friend of mine from the UK here stated, deja vu for me tends to happen when someone speaks rather than just seeing something. So I'll walk into a room and something will happen. Someone will speak to me, and that really feels familiar, like a memory. So it's not so much what you see, it's more what you hear. So the room, I don't necessarily feel it's familiar, but the words in the conversation feel familiar, and it's more the memory than the experiences. So you feel, oh, I had this conversation before, and you instinctively know what the person is going to say, or what you're going to say in reply to what they say. And it's a feeling inside you rather than seeing it. So you're not actually seeing it and thinking, oh, the room is the same, but the words are the same. It's more deep feeling inside, and that's what makes it so weird, because you think you feel that it has happened before from somewhere a long time ago. So my experiences of deja vu have always been more the words than the visual memory. I can't give you a particular incident to explain it to you, but essentially it's conversation more than anything visual. This occurs at least once a month. And I'll go ahead and tell you the experiences of others. Another explained to me that his first experiences with deja vu was when he was 8. He remembers playing with some model of a motorcycle, and in that particular moment, he was experiencing a moment he felt like he already saw. And so he felt like he was reliving that moment. From that moment on in his life, he experienced deja vu from time to time. However, it stopped for some time and then resumed again. So he remembers that he experienced them frequently as a teenager from 16 onward. And at this phase of his life, he feels he has experienced them inconsistently in a way where for a time it could happen at least once a week, and at other times almost every day. He feels that it's a way for him to know that he's on the right track in his life. And he also has dreams of seeing moments of his future that could possibly take place, and has this feeling also that it's his choice whether these moments in his life will happen or not based on his decisions. Then he would keep thinking about, what he saw in his dream to try to figure out its meaning, and these moments would eventually take place a week later, and it seems to always be around a week later. So it's like reliving those moments he saw from his dreams. When these moments take place, he gets like goosebumps and a sense of joy, which makes him want to laugh. And he wasn't exactly sure either whether he would say that all of these experiences would be considered deja vu. He wasn't exactly sure. Another messaged me stating that it's been a long time since he experienced deja vu, and it's super random when it happens. Usually happens when he's sitting with a group of people in a certain place and he feels the familiarity of being with the group of people, but not usually the topic they're discussing. So it's more the people he's with. He experiences that moment and then lets it go. So there are no questions about, what it was all about and so on. Well, now in my experience, or in my case, I only experienced it once in a blue moon, to be exact. I can only count the number of times I've had experienced it on my one hand. But the most recent one was earlier this year, actually. I was sitting at a table working on a video with a couple of friends, and there was a particular moment where I experienced deja vu. And it was as if I had spoken to them before on the same topic in front of the computer. And it left a strange impression on me because you can't compare it with anything. It's oddly strange and a little confusing, little disorienting, because it was as if my brain was slowly turning, like, those glass figurines you see with oil or some kind of liquid inside that slowly tilt the glass from one side to the other in like slow motion. So I paused to take a moment to realize or take in this, sensation that was coming over me. And it's difficult to make anything out of it because it's like, why did I feel like it was something I had experienced before? I didn't remember dreaming about it, or remember a time when I had been in this place, or time before having this conversation with my two friends. So it was an odd experience, but it was really cool. So it seems that the frequency of this experience is different for each individual. So why is that? Well, after taking some time to look into each of their experiences and mine, I believe that one reason is that it may have to do with how active their spirit guides are around them, or other spirits who may play an active role in their life other than their direct guides. So yes, I do see spirits. I see dead people. No, but seriously, I do see spirits. How do psychics, mediums, and spiritualists, I think is a word, get their information other than just using their abilities? I myself, I don't see myself as a psychic or medium or anything like that. For me, I'm looking at this from a learning perspective. So yes, I see spirits, but that was due to the exercises that I have and still do practice in order to see what I see and feel. But for some reason, it comes more naturally for some who have, experienced this or have been able to do this since they were young. I have a lot more to learn, which is where I'm at, and with these abilities, I'm able to help others by giving consultations and doing energy work and so on. There's so much to learn when getting into this field. There are so many different areas you can branch out into. In regards to spirits, there are spirits all around us. We die in these bodies, we go home, and it's not like we just chill there and do nothing. We keep busy, and one of the tasks that we put ourselves to work to is reaching out to our loved ones and seeing if they need any help or guidance. So that has got to be the explanation for all the activity that I see around people, and I'm sure there are others. And they also help me do what I do in giving consultation. They help a lot actually when it comes to the accuracy of the information. But again, it's about guidance, nothing more. They're not tasked with governing your life or ruling your life, and if they do, I feel that they're overstepping their boundaries. We live and learn and do our best, but there's nothing wrong with receiving some guidance and emotional help. So what do spirits have anything to do with deja vu? Well, let's go back to why I mentioned spirits. As I stated before, the frequency of deja vu may be related to how active your spirit guides are or other spirits who may be close to you. sometimes they remind you of something forgotten from our dreams. So my understanding is that as we dream into the night, or whenever you sleep, we constantly stream images of what's around us. I mean, if there are spirits around you as you sleep, they will play a stream of images into your mind to help you think about things in a certain manner, help you manage your problems, shift your way of thinking on a manner, help you out of situations that you seem to be stuck in, or give you images that seem worthless of your time to dream about. But they are there for you to think about how, perhaps how your life would be without your friends or family or pets and so on. Sometimes a message in the dream is to leave the person you are with for whatever reason, or buy something you need for what's coming. It can basically be about so many different things depending on the person and what's going on in their life. It could have a symbolic meaning for something going on in that person's life, and they're not always happy dreams. Sometimes they can be nightmares, and even nightmares can have something to show you or not, depending on a person. So what goes on with déjà vu? Well, in a dream, we may experience a moment when we have a meeting with a friend and have totally forgotten about it when we wake up because, many other things took place in the dream also. How many of us often have trouble remembering dreams? So many of us do. So what can we do about it? Well, for me, I just go on with my normal life. I personally don't feel that every dream is meant to be remembered because some may not have anything to do with my day-to-day living, but that's just me. I know everyone has their own personal view on this, or, personal feeling on this. Ultimately, it depends on what's going on around you, and for each of us it's different. But what I do know and believe is that some dreams do contain a message that can be helpful. So if remembering what you had dreamt the night before is a challenge, then maybe keeping a journal next to your bed is a wise idea in order to jot down what you had dreamt when it's still fresh in your mind. Once you set the intentions to do so, I believe that you're better able to write it all down bit by bit. It takes time at the beginning when you're new to it, but I believe it'll, improve over time. Well, anyway, I believe that what you dreamt before, which eventually manifests before your very eyes, you experience the phenomena of déjà vu, quite simply. It's an odd sensation that rocks you a little from your reality. The brain recognizes that it had once seen this image before somewhere, so you get this overwhelming feeling that you had been in this situation before to the letter T, but can't figure out what, how and when and so forth. So your sense of reality is shaken for a few seconds, being overwhelmed with when and how and whatever. And then you return to the conversation as if you were, before. And if you hadn't mentioned it, if you didn't mention it, no one would even ever notice that you had experienced it. It's only for a brief moment. What it seems is that our guides or spirit guides are there with us to reinforce that memory by lighting up the crown energy to reflect on that moment as you relive it in a way, by watching it unfold in front of you. It's like marking the occasion. Perhaps the conversation that's taking place is important. Perhaps it's a reminder that you are in the right place at the right time. In my case, I felt an odd sensation in my head, like it was slowly being rocked, from side to side in slow motion. Well, that's my guide's way of telling me to slow down and pay attention to this moment. It's an important moment for me, or it was, because I made the decision on the path I had chosen prior to that conversation. This moment predetermined what my outcome will be. I had chosen to take a road less traveled in my life, and from this experience I've gained a lot of knowledge and understanding, and for that I'm very grateful. For many, it may be for a similar reason, like which path to take. But for others, perhaps it was a reminder of what joy it brings to be with your family or friends at that moment, like savoring the moment, Or perhaps it's about what choices to make in life. For example, perhaps your moment of deja vu took place in a specific place. It wasn't about the people around you or what you were doing. The focus was on the place. And when that happens, I feel that it's about the importance of the place you had dreamt about before. Perhaps you have a historical connection to the place where you had once been in a past life. Or perhaps it's about where you are in your path, in your life path. It's a reminder that you are in the right place at the right time in your life. You're supposed to be there for whatever reason. Perhaps a family member passed away there, and they are there from the other side, reminding you of a place where they once inhabited or once loved. It could be for many different reasons, but at one point you had dreamt of it and it manifested itself in front of your very own eyes, which exhibits this feeling of deja vu, or the odd feeling that you had been there before. Spirits can do a lot around us. They can make us feel all kinds of sensations that would freak a lot of people out. But one thing I can tell you is that they can help us out in many different ways. And one way is helping us to remember by projecting images into your mind, or for some, giving us the sensation of knowing that we have experienced this situation before. They can light up our mind with their own energy to help us see and feel into the messages. So this is what I've gathered from my own experience with deja vu, my recent one, and from other examples. Of course, there are many more reasons as to why it takes place, but it really depends on each individual. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in topics like this, there are many more to come. Thank you so much for your support. I really enjoyed doing and putting this information together. I also want to thank those who took the time to write to me about their deja vu experiences. They were very, very helpful information. But yeah, thank you. And I hope you all enjoy your day and evening wherever you are. If you like to share your own experiences of deja vu, feel free to share it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Perhaps we have more in common than we realize. So thanks for stopping by, and I wish you all to be happy and be kind to yourself. Kindness is contagious. It can spread like wildfire, such as a smile. So have a beautiful day. Thank you everyone, and take care. Bye.